We are wearing glasses today because I ran out of contacts and I fully forgot about it. So it's time for the mid-year book tag. I am so excited to do this. I am actually very prepared. I have a list of all of the questions and all of the answers, all of the books that I want to talk about. I have never been so prepared in my life, so I'm very proud of myself for that. This is a tag that I feel like has been around for quite a bit. I might be wrong, but I saw Katie do this a couple of weeks ago and I really liked how she did it. She also added some of like her own questions and I really like those too. So I thought that I would do it. I thought that it would be nice to just reflect on the last 6 months. I have a lot of books to talk about. You don't actually see them. I have them all here. Just trust me on this. There's a lot of books. I try not to speak about the same books in every single question. Obviously, we are gonna have some repeats, but I try to minimize that as much as I can. So yeah, let's get straight into this because I have a feeling this is gonna be a very long video. The first question is best book you've read so far in 2024, and I actually have 3 answers for that. The most recent one, actually, should I go like chronologically, like the first, the second, and the third? Yeah, sure, let's do this. The first book that I gave 5 stars is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of the first books that I read this year and I fell in love with it. I love the 2 characters in this. I feel like she really outdid herself with this book and I loved the writing, I loved the characters, I loved our male main character. I loved how he understood her. I loved her character because I could relate to her in a lot of ways. She's basically like a people pleaser and she does everything in her power to make people like her, but he is not fooled by that. He's like, no, I don't want like the fake personality that you think I'm going to like. I want to figure out who you really are. And I really liked the writing of this. I really liked the more hard topics that it dealt with. It was one of the books that I could not put down and I just wanted to keep reading, and I would 100% recommend this. I truly think that this is the best book Ali Hazelwood has wrote so far. So yeah, this is definitely the first book of this year that I actually like fully fell in love with and I'm still 100% thinking about. The next book that was one of my top reads of the year was For the Love by Olivia Dade. Olivia Dade is a newer author to me and I obviously really like her. I loved this book so much. I loved her 2 characters. I love the communication in this book. I have heard some people saying that it actually like the communication in this book is not that great, but in my opinion it was done so well. I love our 2 characters. I love how you get straight into the story. There's no boring stuff in the beginning of the book. You get straight into the story. You can relate to the 2 characters. It's also a great summer read. I really liked how we saw our female main character going from thinking that she doesn't really need to have a personal life that much, that it's not like her priority and that in general nobody would actually fight for her, to having our male main character genuinely fight for her and be like, no, I want you. I do. And honestly, I really did love the age gap. Basically, she's 40 years old and he's 20 something years old, I think in his late 20s. It also had some deeper topics, which I love. It helps you connect with the characters a tiny bit more. So most of the times my favorite books will have like deeper topics. And then the last book that I have is Pole Position by Rebecca J. Caffrey. I'm obsessed with this book. It's a newer release. I read it the day that it came out and I am so happy that I did because I'm obsessed with this book. I still think about it every single day. I love it. It's an F1 romance. It's actually my first F1 romance that I have ever read and I'm obsessed. I low-key need to become an F1 driver. Kidding, because I am definitely very scared of driving, but I love the world so much. I love the characters. Basically, this is a male on male romance. We have Harper and Kian. Kian is like this very huge F1 driver in this very like big team and he's one of like the biggest F1 drivers, and something happens to his teammate. So this new guy, Harper, comes on his team. Kian is a very closed off guy. He's a very focused guy. He's a very organized guy. He really likes things done in a certain way. And Harper, he likes to party. He's very just relaxed. He's basically the opposite of Kian. So when Kian meets him, he's annoyed by him and he just doesn't really care about him. He thinks that he's not that great of a person, but there is an attraction there. And obviously when they are in the same team, they spend a lot of time together. So you see them traveling the world for different races. First of all, that part is so fun, and secondly, I loved how gradual it was. I loved how it got from them not liking each other to them starting to be friends and then having an attraction and then slowly becoming a couple, obviously. Again, it had like some deeper topics that I loved how they were done. It was so wholesome, but not like in a boring way. It was one of the books that made me remember why I love reading romances so much. So yeah, I'm still obsessed with this book and I'm still thinking about it and I just cannot wait to read more books by this this author. The next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2024. I have quite a few for this because one of my goals for this year was to finish a lot of series. So obviously I have read a lot of sequels this year. The first one, actually the first two are both by Lauren Asher. The first one is Final Offer, which is the third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I read this whole series this year and I was so surprised with the third book. I feel like her writing really changed in the third book. It became so much better in my opinion. It was so much easier to connect with the characters and I genuinely really love that book. I love the characters, I love the relationship. I love how we got to see Carl struggling with his addiction and becoming better and coming out of it and figuring out kind of like his life, and I loved how it was done. I fully love how it was done. I loved the little town and I think that that was one of the best books by Lauren Asher that I have read. And then the other book that I have by Lauren Asher is Love Unwritten. This is a very new release and I was actually really close to giving it 5 stars, but it was a tiny bit too long. It was so fun. I was giggling, giving my feet. I fell in love with the two characters. I fell in love with the romance. It's a single dad. It's a nanny trope. I loved it so much. I love the character. It was a very summery read because they go to Hawaii and you see a lot of that going on. I loved our female main character and how you see her mental health and trying to cope with that. I think that it was done beautifully. The next sequel is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This is the second book in the Mr. Wrong Number series. I read this book, did not really love it, so I wasn't expecting that many things from this, but this was so good. I enjoyed it so much. This is such a perfect rom-com. It's such an easy book to read. It's so fun, it's so entertaining, and I really loved the writing in this book. I have read like every single adult romance by Lynn Painter and this is definitely my favorite. It was so good and I fully did not expect it. Coming from the first book, I was like, maybe Lynn Painter's writing works for me only when it's like young adult and not so much when it's adult, but this one was done so incredibly well. I love the characters. I loved how the Friends to Lovers was done in this book because Friends to Lovers is not my favorite trope ever, but with this book I had so much fun. And then the last sequel that I have to talk about is The Intimacy Experiment by Rosie Danan. I read The Roommate, which is the first book in the series, I want to say like 2 years ago, and I didn't love it. It was an okay book. Didn't really care about it that much. So I actually put off picking this book up for so long, like years at this point. One day I was like, okay, it's one book and then I'm gonna be done with the series. So I picked it up and I loved it. It was so good. This has all of the positives from the first book, but it has so much more. It has so much more depth. I feel like we got so many different things in this book, but it wasn't like an extremely long book. This was also like a Friends to Lovers situation, so I love to see that. I love how we got to see our female main character starting to realize that she's not that bad and she's being kind of hard on herself and it's okay to sometimes be vulnerable. And I loved the vibes of this book. It's basically like Black Cat Golden Retriever. I still think about this book to this day, which is crazy to me because I never think about the first book. The next question is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. The first one, and probably the biggest one for me, is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. The only reason why I have not read this book is because it's the third book in the Part of Your World like universe, I guess, and I have not read Part of Your World or Yours Truly, which are the first 2 books in that universe, so I need to read those in order to go to Just for the Summer. To be honest, I don't know what is keeping me from reading them because I truly believe that every single book in that series could be a 5-star. I don't know why, but that's just what my brain is telling me. So I genuinely don't have a reason why I have not read that series. This book came out recently and everyone is raving about it, and I really want to read it. The next one is The Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings. Maisie Eddings is one of my top authors. I have read all of her books except that one, which is her newer release, and the only reason why I have not read it is I do not own the physical copy of it. As you can see, all of the other books I have the physical copies of and I have actually fully sat down and annotated them. So I really just want to read that book and have the physical copy so that I can actually sit down and annotate it. It's a sapphic romance, which I'm really excited about because she has not done that before. And if there's one thing about me, I love reading about queer characters, so I'm very excited about that. The next book is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I like Christina Lauren. I don't love all of their books. There are some books that I really like, and there are some books that I don't know why people like them. But this book is like fake dating dating, I'm pretty sure, like fake marriage of convenience, something like that. And it's also like a summary book, and I really want to read it. I have heard pretty good things, and also the more recent books by Christina Lauren I have really enjoyed. So because this is obviously one of their newer releases, I'm hoping that I'm gonna like it. Then I have Ready or Not by Cara Bestone. This is an accidental pregnancy trope, and first of all, the cover, gorgeous. Secondly, I like accidental pregnancy. I know that a lot of people don't like it, and I will say it needs to be done in a certain way for me to actually like it, and I think that this book is done in a way that I will like it, so I'm very excited about that. And yeah, it's giving like spring summer vibes, so again, I'm hoping that I'm gonna finish it in the next couple of months, because I don't actually really want to read it in fall. It's not giving fall vibes. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'm gonna read it in the next couple of months, and I'm hoping that I'm actually gonna really like it. I have heard kind of mixed reviews. Some people really love it, some people just don't care about it, so I'm curious to see where I will fall with that. And then the last book is Drive Me Crazy by Carly Robin. This is the first book in a series. It's an F1 romance, so obviously since I read Pole Position, I really want to read this book. I have heard so many good things, and I think that it's kind of like she is his manager, like, or his social like PR person. I'm not 100% sure. I have heard so many good things about this book, and I feel like a lot of people that really love F1 romances say that this is really good. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna like it, and I really need to pick it up sometime soon. I want to read more F1 romances so much, and I feel like there's not that many. If you know any, please let me know, because I really want to read more. I feel like those were the bigger questions, so now we're going into the more like the questions that have smaller answers, basically. So the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have two for this. I have Play Along by Liz Tomford. This is coming out in a week, I would say. I am so excited about it. It's the fourth book in the Windy City series. I have read Mile High, The Right Move, and Caught Up. Mile High and Caught Up were 5 stars, and The Right Move was like a 4.5. So I have high expectations for this one, and I have been waiting for it ever since Caught Up came out. So I am so excited to read this book, and I cannot believe that it's just a week away. The minute that book hits my Kindle, I am reading it. There's no doubt about it. And the next book is Daydream by Hannah Grace. I think that this is coming out in August, at least in Europe, which is where I live. I'm pretty sure that it comes out in the US earlier on. So I'm very excited about this because I really liked Icebreaker. I know that it's kind of like mixed opinions. I feel like some people think that it's just not that great. Some people think that it's a bit too much, and some people really love that book. I fall in the category that I love that book, and I am so excited. I have not read Wildfire yet, which is the second book in that series, but I am so excited about Daydream. Obviously, I need to read Wildfire first, and I'm gonna get to it, you know, I'm gonna get to it. But Daydream, there's something about me and the trope where we have a female main character, and she doesn't have that much experience dating, but she's writing a book, a romance book. So obviously she needs some inspiration, and then the male character comes and he's like, I'm gonna help you with that. There's something about that trope that always does it for me, and I just want to see that. It's an auto buy. Then we have the biggest surprise of the year. I have the new Camelot series by Sierra Simone. This is a trilogy. It's a dark romance, I think. Yeah, definitely a dark romance. I listened to them on Audible because they were like free on there, like with the subscription they were free. So I was like, okay, I need an audiobook. I have heard really good things about Sierra Simone. Let me hear them. Let me hear them. I started the first book, which is American Queen. I was a bit confused at first. I was like, I don't know if that's for me. I really don't know. But then when I finished that book, I was like, okay, let me just listen to the second one, which is American Prince. I don't know what was in that book, but I fell in love with it. I fell in love with our male main character. I love that book so much. It's definitely my favorite from the whole series. I like the third book, which is American King, but I love the second book. There's something about the series. It's kind of unhinged. It's kind of crazy, but at the same time, it's so entertaining and fast-paced and just addicting. If I had to choose one word to describe that series, I would say that it's addicting. There are so many things that are happening. I will say at the ending of the whole series, I was kind of like, I did see that coming, but at the same time, I kind of didn't. So yeah, I was definitely surprised with how much fun I had, and I am still thinking about the series. And if you didn't know what the series is about, it's basically the romance between the President of the United States, the First Lady, and the Vice President. So yeah, the next like surprise that I had was I Hate You More by Lucy Gilmore. This is a book that I didn't have that many expectations from, and I loved it so much. It's a perfect perfect rom-com. I had so much fun reading it. I love the characters. It was so fast-paced. I really enjoyed the plot of it. It was just easy, no thoughts, just vibes, but at the same time I feel like it had like a sprinkle of some more serious topics, but done in a way that it was very light. I really liked the writing. It was so easy, and again, it's a perfect rom-com without being 100% silly and goofy, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but it helped me connect with the characters a bit more. And then another surprise was the Hardy Billionaire series by Saint Rose. I have read the first 2 books. I have not read the 3rd book, which is out, and then I think that there's another one coming out. I picked the first book up because I saw like a quote on Book Talk, so I was like, oh, that sounds nice, let me read it. I was thinking that it's going to be like around the 3-star mark, because most of the times Book Talk recommendations are around the 3-star mark, but I started reading it. It's so good. I love the writing. It's so fast-paced. It's so entertaining. I love like the family in this book. I love how easy it is to understand. I love the plot. It's basically similar to the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher, because we have essentially the same plot, the same main plot throughout the whole series. We have the grandfather that passes away and leaves a will. And in his book, we see one of the guys doing what the will says. So in the first book, they have to get married. And then in the second book, they have to actually work together. So I love how it was done. I love the male characters. Cannot wait to continue with the series and cannot wait to read more books from Shani Rose. They are a bit on the darker side, so just letting you know that. The next question is favorite new author. I have 2 authors for this question. The first one is Abby Jimenez. I read this series, which is the Friendzone series. I have read the 3rd book also. I don't own the physical copy of it. I am obsessed. I love them so much. They are so easy to read. They have deeper topics. They're like funny at the same time. They are sweet. They are just perfect, beautiful reads. My favorite from the series is definitely this one, which is the 2nd book. I loved how it was done. They're around like 400 pages, but they have so many things packed in there, and I love her writing. It's so easy. I saw Destiny describe it as a breath of fresh air, and I 100% agree with that. This is genuinely how her writing feels to me. It's an easy, kind of no brain power, but at the same time it really makes you feel, but it's so easy to read. You don't get confused. You don't have to really try and stay focused. It's just incredible. And then the next author is Olivia Dade. I love her writing so much. It goes so deep, but at the same time, I guess it reminds me a bit of Abby Jimenez writing, where it's very easy and it's very light, but at the same time, it always has something deeper going on, something that is more serious, and there's always just something more with the writing. And I really love that. I feel like this whole video is me saying that I love when books have deeper topics, but it's true, and I feel like both of these authors do a great job of that. Then we have numerous fictional crush. I'm not a person that gets a lot of fictional crushes, but I would say my favorite male main characters is Kian by Pole Position. I love him so much. He's so tough, at least he tries to seem tough, but he's such a sweet, kind, loving person, and I love that. And then the next one is Eli by Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. He was the definition of if he wanted to, he would. He was genuinely down bad, and there's something about that, like, you gotta love it when a guy is down bad. The next question is book that made me cry. The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is a book that I did not expect to cry actually, but I bawled my eyes out. I cried in the prologue of this book. This book is so heartbreaking. I feel like it really connected with me and my experiences, and that's why it affected me so much. This might not make every single person cry, but it did make me cry like a lot. And then the next one is A Proposal They Can't Refuse by Natalie Kanya. This didn't make me cry as much as this one. Something that happens in that book really spoke to my soul and to my experiences, and I definitely cried, but I would say that one is not so heavy. I would say that it's mostly like a rom-com, but it's just there's one thing that happens in that book that just made me bawl my eyes out. The next question is books that make me happy. I have 2 for that. The first one is How to Honeymoon Alone by Olivia Hale. This was a perfect summer read. I was smiling the whole time while I was reading it. It was so easy. It was so entertaining. It was so fun. It felt like I was on vacation with the 2 characters. I love the plot. I love how it go again straight into the story. It was so fun, and I was not expecting it because I read another series by Olivia Hale. I liked it. I wasn't obsessed with it, and it was definitely not that fun. But this book, I was constantly smiling while I was reading it. I was laughing out loud, which is crazy to me. So yeah, that book was so good. And then the next book is Love Unwritten Written by Lauren Asher. Like I have already said, this book made me giggle so much and smile, and just, it was so adorable. So yeah, I would have to say those two. Then we have Most Beautiful Book You Have Bought This Year or Received. I actually have not bought any books this year. I have only bought one, and that one is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. And the only reason why I bought it was because I wanted this cover and not the cartoon cover, so I bought it for that reason. But other than that, I'm actually like low-key in a book buying ban, so I have not bought any physical books. At least ebooks don't count, right? Yeah, so this is the only book that I have bought this year. So I felt like this question, picking this book, was kind of like a cop-out because obviously I don't have a choice. So I changed it a tiny bit and I did it, what is the most beautiful book that I own? And for that, I'm gonna have to go with these two. The first one is Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Cheryl Lee. I love this book. The cover of this is gorgeous. I love the pastel tones. I love the two shades that it has. The artist of this book is incredible. Literally, I love their work so much. And the second book is My Epic Spring Breakup by Kristen Rockaway. Again, there's something about this cover. I feel like they're kind of similar vibes, like pastel tones and all that. But yeah, I love the pink, I love the purple, the orange. There's something about these two covers that really work with my brain. So yeah, I slightly changed the question, but at the same time, it's okay. I make the rules, right? Yeah. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I have 3 series for this question. The first one is the Magnolia Park series, the Magnolia Parks universe. I have the first 2 books actually, Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates. I need to read these. I'm just so scared. I don't know. I am so scared to read them. I have heard mostly good things, I would say, and I do think that I'm gonna like it. I know that it's not a romance. I know that it's more so like a character-based story. We are already 5 books deep into this series, so I feel like I need to stop putting it off and actually pick them up because I do think that I'm gonna like them. I think that they're gonna be very addicting and I'm gonna really enjoy them. I'm scared, okay? That's it. The next series is Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. Everyone is raving about this series. Everyone is raving about this author, and I have not read anything from Elsie Silver, so I really want to try it. I think that I'm gonna like them. They're like small town cowboy vibes, which again seems right up my alley, even though I haven't read that many cowboy books, but I feel like I would like it. And then the last series is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. Like I have already said, I am in love with F1 romances. I actually enjoy Lauren Asher's writing. It's not my favorite, especially like her older books, so I'm not thinking that I'm gonna love this series, but it's such a hyped series, it's such a well-loved series. And they're also F1 romances, which again I'm obsessed with. So those were the original questions, and now I'm gonna go into Katie's questions. The first one is, what books do you want to reread this year? I have only one. Obviously would love to reread all of my favorite books, but there's one book that I really want to reread. That is Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. This is a book that I read, I want to say 2-3 years ago. I gave it 5 stars. I don't remember that many things about it, so I really want to reread it and see if it's actually a 5-star read or if it's not. I have wanted to reread it for so long because I remember liking it, but I don't remember what happened exactly. I don't remember why I liked it. I know the premise of this book, but I don't remember that many things about it. And again, it's like a book that I gave 5 stars, so I feel like I should know the plot of it. So I really want to reread it in order to see what's my actual rating of it, and also to just remember what this book is about and what happens in this book. The next question is favorite author so far this year, and that is Liz Mumford. I have not read a single book by Liz Mumford this year, but that's my favorite author, my top author, I would say right now. Obviously by the end of this year it might change, but as of now my favorite author is Liz Mumford. Then we have books you've been putting off. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I am scared to pick this one up. I have had this on my bookshelf for so long and I'm just petrified. Here's the thing. I am Greek. I live in Greece. And obviously this is like about Greek mythology. I know the story that this book is based on. I am scared to pick this one up because I feel like I'm not gonna like it because I know the story so well. Like we study it in school, so I genuinely know the story so well. And I'm scared about it. I know that it's heartbreaking and I know that it's not so much like a romance, it's more so a heartbreaking story. One day I am gonna pick this one up. I don't know when that day is gonna be. And then there is an author that I have been putting off, and that is Emily Henry. I own 2 books, so I own People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers. Obviously Emily Henry has more books than these 2, but I don't want to buy the other books if I have not read these 2. Like I own them and I have not read them. I'm just so scared that I'm not gonna like the writing, and every single time that I pick up a book by a popular author I get so so scared. Also, I feel like a lot of people say that Emily Henry is kind of more so like literary fiction, women's fiction with a side plot of romance. It's not so much like a romance book. So I'm actually kind of scared about that, because what if I'm dumb and I don't understand it? I really want to like her writing and I really just want to like all of her books, but I'm very scared that I'm not going to, so that's why I'm having putting it off. If you have read like Emily Henry books, please let me know which is the best one to start with that is going to be more so on the romance side and not so much like literary fiction, because I don't want to go into, for example, Happy Place, which is a lot of literary fiction, at least from what I have heard, and feel dumb while I'm reading it because I am not getting affected by it, I'm not understanding it, I'm not interested in it. So yeah, I would highly appreciate it if you let me know which book I should go into, because I really want to read her books. The next question is a book you have enjoyed with mixed reviews. First one is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I feel like some people didn't really love it, but I love this book. I gave it 4.75 and I really liked the writing in this book. It's definitely not young adult. It's definitely more so on the new adult side, but I really love this book. I really love the writing, the characters, the story, everything about this book. Even the chess, I was obsessed with. And then the next book, which I feel like has even more mixed reviews, is Chase Me by Tessa Bailey. This is the first book in the Broken Beautiful series. I've actually read the whole series. The first one is really fun. I feel like it was a really easy book to read. No thoughts, just vibes book. And I really enjoyed it. I feel like most people don't like it. And I get why. It's not like the deepest romance that you're gonna read, but something about it really worked for me. I feel like a lot of people, from what I've seen on Goodreads, is not liking this book. And I'm like, it was fun. It was just a good time. It was a fun, good time. It's very quick, very just short. It's short and sweet. Well, not so sweet. It's pretty spicy. But like, you get what I'm saying. 4 questions left. The next one is series you want to finish before the end of the year. The first one is the Influencer series by Amy Lee. I have read the first 2 books in this series. So we have Set on You and X's and O's. And there's like the 3rd book that came out this year. I don't actually remember the name. I will pop it on the screen. I really want to read it. I actually really like the series. They are all like rom-coms and I really like them. And the 3rd book, which is the newest book, obviously, it's like a summary book. At least I think that it is. And it really reminds me of It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, and I really love that book, so I'm hoping that it's gonna give me the same vibes. So yeah, I really want to read that book because I do really love Amy Lee's writing. I have read also like a young adult book that she has, and I really like that too. There's something about her writing that it's so easy and it really works with my brain. Then I have the Red Zone Rival series by Candy Steiner. I have read the first 4 books, and then there's like another book that came out. I don't remember the name of it, which is the 5th book in that series. I don't know if it's going to be the final book. I thought that the series was done, to be honest, and then this book came out, so I don't know if there's gonna be more books in this series or if this one is the last one, but I am very curious about it. And I really love Candy Steiner's writing. It's so easy for me to read. It's usually very fast paced, so I really want to finish that series and see how I will feel about the new book. And then we have the Nashville Neighborhood series by Nikki Sloan. This is a spicy series, like very, I would say kind of on the darker side, and I have read every single book in that series except for the 4th one, and there's 5 books in that series. I don't know how I have read the 5th book, but I have not read the 4th book. The thing is, I have heard so many people saying that the 4th book is their favorite book in that series. I really need to pick it up. I didn't think I was going to like it, so I didn't read it, and now I'm like, if everyone is saying that that book is the best in that series, then I obviously need to read it. So yeah, next question is 5-star predictions for the rest of the year, and I have only one, and that is Play Along by Lee Stomford. Again, it's coming out in a week and I am so excited. I have seen the teasers that she has posted, and when I tell you that I see them, I read them, and I'm giggling from a teaser. It's 5 sentences and I'm giggling and kicking my feet. So yeah, I truly think that it's going to be a 5-star read. We'll see. It's also Marriage of Convenience, which is one of my favorite tropes, so we'll see about that. But yeah, that's like the only book that I think is going to be a 5-star. But then we have, do you think you will reach your reading goal? Are you going to change it? Right now I have read 78 books and my reading goal for the year was 80 books, which is obviously 2 books away. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna reach it. I don't think that I'm gonna change it. I have thought about it a lot because obviously I have seen that I'm getting really close to my goal for the year, and I am going to keep reading, but I don't think that I'm gonna change it and make it like a higher one, because the reason why I chose 80 books for the year was because I knew that I could do it without pressuring myself. I wanted it to be challenging enough to the point that I would make reading one of my priorities and I wouldn't just put it in the back burner and not read that much. But at the same time, I didn't want to have like a goal that it was like 200 books, which is very, very, very hard to reach. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it at 80. That brings us to the last question, and that is any new goals for the rest of the year. I have only one, and that is to get out of my comfort zone. I am a romance girly, as you have probably seen. I read romance. Romance is my comfort zone. Romance is what got me into reading, and I have read a bunch of romances, and I do really, really love them, but I want to read more genres. I want to try fantasy. I want to read more like thrillers and mysteries. I even want to read like literary fiction, because I do think that I'm gonna enjoy them. It's just, it's so hard for me as a person to go out of my comfort zone, and I haven't really felt the need to, because there's so many romance books out there. New romance books keep coming out. Books from my favorite authors keep coming out, so I don't feel the need to dip my toes in a different genre. But I really want to try it because I think that I could really enjoy it. And there are so many books that so many people love, so many authors that so many people love that don't write romance. They write either like fantasy or mysteries, thrillers, and I want to see if I like them. I want to see how I feel about them. That's like my only new goal, especially like coming into fall, winter. I feel like those are the seasons for thrillers, for fantasy, which is the genres that I mostly want to try. So yeah, I would say that that's like my goal for the rest of the year. But yeah, those are all of the questions. I have been talking for so long. My voice is low-key saying goodbye to me, but it was so fun talking about so many books that I love and I would recommend, even though now I have to go and put them back on their place, which is not gonna be fun, but that's okay. I will have every single question in the description box, so in case you want to do this or you want to just see them. But yeah, that's all I had to say. I hope that you liked this video, and I hope that I will see you in my next one. Bye!